On 9/11, my husband was on the phone with a friend of his who worked for Cantor Fitzgerald, and he was on the 91st floor of the first tower. He was talking to him on the phone and watching the news at the same time. The plane hit the tower and the phone went dead. Everyone on that floor that worked for Cantor Fitzgerald was killed instantly. He lost his friend that day, and it changed our life forever. My name is Susan Bell, and this is my story. My husband couldn't go to sleep without drinking. He became an alcoholic, and he eventually died 8 years later from alcoholism. My boys, as he was drinking, every day when we came home from school, they would ask, "Is Daddy drunk today?" And they would prepare themselves for what was going to be at home when they got home. Life was hard for them. I tried to make it as normal as possible, but it was hard. He went through 4 rehabs. I came up here on a Sunday with the boys, with all of our stuff, moved us in, left the boys with their grandparents, and drove back down on a Friday, closed on our house, said goodbye to my husband, kissed him, hugged him, told him I loved him, but he needed to get better, and when he'd been sober for 6 months, we would come back. That was Friday, and on Monday, I got a call that he had passed away.
He was trying to go from 100 to 0, like a lot of alcohol to no alcohol, and then just while he was in a motel room, his body couldn't take it, had a seizure, and he passed away.
I fought through a lot of guilt. I had 2 12-year-old boys here in Batesville. They're in a new town. They're going through all the hormone changes that 12-year-old boys go through. They don't know anybody. They're starting a new school. We had a really, really rough, probably 3 years.
I don't know if I was mad at God or if I was mad at my dad or my mom for making us move, or I don't really remember being specifically mad at anything. I just remember being mad.
I just remember having this hidden anger that just kind of drove me to just be numb and be away from the things that would ultimately help me. My relationship with Christ was hinged on the fact that I needed to be happy. And so with Dad passing away, that happiness was gone. And so my urge to spend time with him was gone as well.
Moving away from my friends who I thought were going to be my only friends, the only friends I wanted to be around, to having my dad die when I thought the whole point of moving away was for him to be better. And then having to start at a new school where I knew no one. I think I might have done an okay job, at least at school, of faking that. At home, I definitely didn't. I was a really angry kid, and I was really mean here at home. At that time, going to a private Christian school growing up, I could have told you anything there was to know about Christianity and what Jesus did and who he was, but the relational aspect was gone, or not gone, it was never there, and I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand how that would work, and I didn't even think about it and really want to understand. I didn't really care. It's not that I didn't believe in God, I think I did. It's just the relational aspect of that was non-existent.
I prayed and prayed. My biggest prayer every day was that men would come into their lives that could step in, godly men, teach them how to be a man, show them a male perspective on what it looks like to follow Jesus. Because I think I'm a pretty good mom, but I'm a terrible dad. In high school, freshman year, my son Connor met Scott Henderson, and he stepped into that role for Connor. I am so grateful for that.
I don't remember a ton about that club specifically. I remember it being in a cramped basement. I remember it being loud, and everybody was very comfortable, and it was a very weird environment in a good way. It was a very different change of pace, and I remember liking that a lot. And then we went to McDonald's afterwards, and that's when I was approached by Scott, and he just started talking to me. He said he heard I played basketball, and I think he might have asked me about UK. He might have heard I was a UK fan, and he's a UK fan, and that was just very strange again for an adult to come talk to me. I didn't really think much of it, as I just thought maybe it was like, oh, a youth group leader's just, being nice to me. And so from then on, he would show up at basketball games, and I would see him, and he'd come talk to me, or I'd see him at Young Life again, or I'd see him at lunch, and he would remember my name, and he would talk to me. And when I started coming around to Young Life more, that was how all the leaders were. That was also super strange, and something I was not used to, was seeing a bunch of grown men. The way that they treated each other was really weird to me in a good way, and the way they treated me was really weird. And I wouldn't have been able to articulate this at the time, but it was because they were following Christ and they were radiating Jesus.
A few years later, Aiden started going to Young Life too, and met Mark Lamardo. And anytime anything was wrong with any of their cars, he would go over there and he would teach them how to fix it. He wouldn't fix it for them, but he would tell them what to get, and he would show them how to fix it and just spend time with them. And that kind of stuff was huge. And in that, teaching them who Jesus is, what it looks like to follow him, teaching them how to be servant-hearted, teaching them how to lead their friends to Christ.
Going into junior year, I met a Young Life leader named Mark. What I can say now is he was the dad that I didn't have in high school. He empowered me. He taught me the things that I needed to know to be a man in high school. And to this day, he just still gives me wisdom that I need to get through life. Young Life just gave me a community of people that loved me for me. They helped me find my passion. They helped me just be more confident in who I am and be more confident in my relationship with Christ. It was just a place where I felt truly accepted.
The summer freshman on has now been a journey of me following the Lord and trying to become more like the Lord. In a lot of ways, I've really been healed of a lot of this anger and bitterness that I used to really hold on to. I feel so much more joyful, and I see life in such a different way. It was really incredible for Young Life to be the tool that God chose for that. It was really as simple as starting as an adult, coming up to me and trying to get to know me.
I wanted to make an impact the way that my kids were impacted. So I started leading, I think it'll be 4 years in the spring, and it has made a huge impact in my life. It has brought tears, it has brought joy. I've got to watch girls overcome fears. The biggest thing that I learned that I didn't know before was how many hurting kids there are in Batesville, Indiana. This is a small town, and I thought, just normal, everyday kind of stuff. But there's alcoholism in my life. There is in a lot of the girls' lives. There's drugs, both them and their parents. There's abuse. There's just a lot of hurt. I didn't know what cutting was, but 3 out of 5 of my girls had or were cutting. And I didn't know that there was so much drugs in this area. I didn't know just the abuse, and the parents I don't think their parents had any idea what was going on with them, and they were not going to tell them. But so much hurt that I got angry. I started getting angry by the 4th one. I'm like, what in the heck is going on in this town? Why are these kids hurting so much that they need to cut themselves to feel something? And walking through that, it's hard, but it's rewarding because I see the joy in them, and I can speak into them truth, and I can speak into them that they are valued and that they are loved, because sometimes they don't get that at home. And even the ones that do get it at home, or like my kids, they don't hear it from their parents. They need to hear it from other adults also. And I get to walk with them and do that. It's funny because I said so many times at camp, I've gone to camp with the knee brace 2 years, and I say, this is why old people don't lead Young Life. But I think it's important for them to have people like me, because a lot of them don't have a mom figure in their life, one that loves them and speaks into them like someone like me can do. So in my almost 4 years of leading, I've noticed that as kids get older and they're juniors and seniors, they start to discover things like alcohol and partying and things that seem more exciting than going to Young Life or following Christ. And there's hurt in that because you feel rejected and all of that kind of stuff. But every day I text somebody and just tell them I'm thinking about them, I'm praying for them, and sometimes they'll respond with one word, sometimes they don't respond at all. But I believe that that seed is planted, and we just keep plugging away and checking in with them, that they will come back around and find Christ again. There's hope in that for me.
My name is Aiden Bell, and I'm thankful that Young Life did not stop before they got to my high school.
My name is Connor Bell, and I am so thankful that Young Life did not stop before it got to my high school.
My name is Susan Bell, and I'm thankful that Young Life didn't stop before they got to my family.